membership meeting. Pastor Jimenez, would you like to come up? All stand, please.
Father God, we come before your presence today and knowing that, Father, before the foundations of the world, that Father, that you had a plan for this place. We thank you for the beauty that surrounds us, and we know it's because your creativity, and Father, that you are the creator. Father, we thank you that this has always been a haven for so many, even from the beginning of time. And yet, Father, we thank you for the haven and security it's been for those in the military, those that protect the skies, as well as those that protect on the ground, as those that, Father, overseas. And Father, we thank you for their families that dwell here, and we thank you for the security they feel, the prayers that can be offered for them. Father, we thank you for those that are here on the fort that are men and women that serve our borders, and God, for their families here. Father, for those that have left their winter homes, Father, in the north, that come and journey and here to escape the harsh winters. We thank you for their families back home. We thank you for those that, Lord, have existed here and Father, originated their lives here and they live here on the fort. Father, we thank you, Father, for our leadership here, for this council, for this board, for our leadership, Father, and our administrator, Father, and his family. We thank you for every individual, Father, that serves this fort, from the administration to the maintenance. God, what a blessing it is to be able, we give you thanks for all these things. And Father, we thank you, Father, because it's through the blessings that you give us, we show our appreciation to the unity. And we thank you for America. And God, we thank you for all the great things you're doing, Father, in our lives right now. And Father, we pray that, Lord, that you would just bless us, Father, with the unity of the Spirit throughout our country. And we thank you and we give you praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I know it's Easter, but I'm kind of disappointed in the turnout. That's all right, we'll get you again. I'd like to introduce members of the board. Vice President Bill Herman, Treasurer Sandy Hagan, Secretary and Stan Sullivan, and Ann Barron. I'd like to introduce you to the new candidates for the board. That would be, I'm going to do them by my alphabetical. Ann Barron, and perhaps you would wave first. Debbie Isaacs, Sandy Hagan, John Pope, Susan Hughes, and she not here. Oh, that's right. She did tell me she was leaving. Elena McBride, Maria Perkins, and Patricia Stephenson. Thank you.
Can't hear you.
Sorry. Because I'm getting a lot of talk done. Can you hear me now?
No.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay. We'll use this one. I was about to introduce,
There you go. Not the other one.
maybe this one? No, that one does not wish to be with us. All right, I was about to introduce Richard Lawrence, Executive Officer, and Monique Jensen, Executive Secretary. Dan Sullivan.
The 46th annual membership meeting of the Fort Clark Springs Association was held on Saturday, March 25th, 2017, in the Pulse Theater, Fort Clark Springs, Kinney County, Texas. The meeting was called to order at 10 a.m. by President Myrna Castle. The following members of the Board of Directors were present: Sandra Hagan, Daniel Sullivan, Bill Herman, and Ann Barron. Also present was Richard Lawrence, Executive Director, and Monique Jensen, Executive Secretary. The invocation was delivered by Pastor Susan Engstrom of the United Methodist Church in Brackettville. The welcome, President Castle welcomed those in attendance. She introduced the Board of Directors and Executive Director, Richard Lawrence. Sullivan read aloud the minutes from March 26, 2016. Charles Lepisto moved to approve the minutes as read. Chuck Field seconded the motion. Sullivan called for a vote, and the minutes were approved. Hagan introduced the association's auditor. She advised the membership that he would not be available for questions after his report, but that all questions could be directed to the board or Mr. Lawrence. She also announced copies of the audit would be available at the administration building on Monday morning. Jerry Woltek, CPA from Oliver, Rainey & Woltek, reported on the financial audit for the fiscal year 2016. He began with an explanation of the purpose of the financial audit. It is to audit the general ledger, balance sheets, and to ensure procedures are in place to prevent misappropriation of funds. The association had a clean audit. There is no indication of fraud or misappropriation. A possible byproduct of an audit are finding internal controls needing strengthening. The staff at FCSA have taken a sincere approach to strengthen controls that have been recommended. He pointed out the four most important areas of the audit report, which are the opinion of the auditor, the balance sheets and income statements, the notes, and supplemental schedules. He thanked the board, Mr. Lawrence, and the staff for their willingness to assist and their cooperation throughout the audit. Richard Lawrence thanked the board, staff, and members for their encouragement and kindness. The current state of the association is positive. We've had a net loss of $165,000, while last year the loss was $330,000. We are starting the year with outsourcing some of the accounting and bookkeeping, new staff to assist with delinquent accounts, and getting out of the restaurant business. We have a bylaws rewrite committee. Staff is working with the architectural committee to better enforce CC&Rs with positive responses. Dickman Lounge opened in January. Recognition and thanks is given to all who took part in the opening of the lounge. Improvements at the airfield and hangar are on track to make it an asset. The golf course has seen significant improvement with standards put into place to keep it up. Folks are coming together to improve our way of life. One example is a cooperation effort between Rio Grande Co-op, Community Council Old Quarry, and FCSA with monthly movies. Our amphitheater is back in use with the rewiring of electrical components. Community Council and FCSA had excellent cooperation for Fort Clark Days. The footbridge will remain in place as a symbol to build bridges between Brackettville and FCS. We have seen great cooperation with the churches and city. What is good for FCS is good for Brackettville, and what's good for Brackettville is good for FCS. Shooting sports for 4-H will be reinstated. Boy Scout Eagle projects are encouraged. Cooperation with BHS junior class to clean the ballroom at Dickman Hall for their prom. We opened up a visitor center. Watch what happens when Community Council Recreation Committee and FCSA bring activities from the past 2 days. We have a family fun day scheduled for April 22nd. Positive things are happening. Come be with us. Herman read aloud the committees that are established on the fort, including RV Committee, Golf Committee, Historic Building Restoration and Preservation Committee, Architectural Committee, Recreation Committee, Airport Committee, Recycling Committee, Financial Advisory Committee, Community Council, Historical Society, and Old Quarry Society. Herman thanked all committee members for serving and donating their time to work on these committees. Castle introduced the employees of the year, Monique Jensen and Philip Garcia. Both Monique and Philip started at Fort Clark Springs in 2013. Philip started as a worker for maintenance, and his skills were such that he moved up from there to head of maintenance and into supervisor of all external functions. Philip served as acting co-director of operations for 6 months. Monique was Philip's acting co-director for those 6 months. It was her second stint as a co-director while helping the board search for a new executive officer. Monique started part-time in collections and soon moved to full-time office manager, human resources agent, and executive secretary. These 2 employees are being recognized for their loyal and dedicated work to Fort Clark Springs. Hagan announced the member of the year, Debbie Isaacs and Sam Lark. They were recognized for the thousands of hours dedicated and devoted to their daily, weekly, and monthly volunteer hours to Fort Clark Springs. Ann Barron recognized the group of the year, the RV Park Committee. They were recognized for all their work and time they put into improvements at Fort Clark Springs in the RV park. Dan Sullivan reported on the election results of the revised declaration and protective restrictions. Total ballots mailed, 1,745. Ballots received, 505. Ballots invalid as of March 15, 2017, 19. Ballots received after the deadline, 13. The results were yes to approve, 317. No, 188. The revised declaration of protective restrictions passed. The document will be prepared and recorded at the Kinney County Courthouse on Monday, March 27, 2017, and will be in full effect. Copies will be available online and at the administration office once recorded. The survey regarding security at FCSA was also counted. Question 1, do you feel secure in your home? 353 yes, 52 no. Question 5, would this system or one like it improve your feeling of security at Fort Clark Springs? 118 yes, 327 no. Question number 6, do you feel such a system is worth the cost now and with possible future additions like an exit gate? 70 yes, 374 no. Castle announced the next regular board of directors meeting is April 15, 2017 at 9 a.m. in the boardroom. The members' lunch was served at the NCO Service Club between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch was catered by Bernard McGraw. Motion was made to adjourn the meeting by Charles Lepisto. Phyllis Giblin seconded the motion. The meeting was adjourned at 11:16 a.m. The Board of Directors convened in an organizational meeting, and members are welcome to stay. Council announced the result of officers from the organizational meeting. Officers remain the same. Myrna Castle, President; Bill Herman, Vice President; Dan Sullivan, Secretary; Sandra Hagan, Treasurer; and Barron, Member. And that concludes the minutes from last year's annual meeting. I'll turn it back to Myrna.
Because this is a membership meeting, I need a motion from the audience to approve the minutes. Go ahead, Katie.
I move to approve with one correction. The pastor of the Methodist Church is Cynthia Angstrom. And not
Thank
Susan.
you. Did you get them? Is there a second to the corrected minutes?
Second.
Did we get it? Got about 3 people. Can we have one?
I'll do it.
I'll do. Chuck.
Okay, 2 years in a row, Chuck. I don't know. All in favor of approval of the corrected minutes? Thank you. The minutes are approved. Sandy, would you?
Good morning. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our independent financial auditor, Jerry Wojcik of Oliver, Rainey, and Wojcik from San Angelo, Texas. Mr. Wojcik will not be available for questions again at this time. As you know, it's tax season, so he must return to San Angelo as soon as possible. He's got a lot of work to do. However, the audit will be available at no cost to all members Monday morning, April 2nd at the administrative offices. After reading the audit, you are welcome to submit your questions to any director or to the executive officer, Richard Lawrence, by email or written correspondence. Answers to your questions will be placed in the dispatch so that all members are advised of that answer. Please welcome Jerry Wojcik.
Going to be difficult. I might try. Lenny. I need both hands. Thank you. What a beautiful Easter weekend this has been, isn't it? Gorgeous. Thank you for inviting me today. I appreciate it, and even though it is tax season, it's good to get away from the office every once in a while, even though the work's not going to go away. I wanted to start this. I thought I'd do something a little bit different this time. Instead of explaining, the auditor's opinion, I'm going to read it to you. So if you'll bear with me, it's not long, because it really does go into detail about what management, the board's responsibility is during the audit, and what our responsibility is as auditors. So if you'll just bear with me for a minute. I know I'm not sure if all of you picked up the financials and really read that report, but that's the most important part of those financial statements. We have audited the accompanying consolidated financial statements of Fort Clark Springs Association and subsidiary, which is Lost Moors Corporation, which comprise the consolidated balance sheet as of September 30, 2017, and the related consolidated statements of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance and cash flows for the year then ended, and the related notes to the consolidated financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This includes the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. Our responsibility as an auditor is to express an opinion on these financial statements based on our audit. We conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. These standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatement. An audit involves performing procedures to obtain audit evidence about the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. The procedures selected depend on the auditor's judgment, including the assessment of the risk of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error. In making those risk assessments, the auditor considers internal control relevant to the entity's preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the entity's internal control. Accordingly, we express no such opinion. An audit also includes evaluating the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of significant accounting estimates made by management, as well as evaluating the overall presentation of the financial statements. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. In our opinion, the consolidated financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of Fort Clark Springs Association, Incorporated, and subsidiary as of September 30, 2017, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with in conformity with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So that is, as referred to in the minutes from last year, a clean opinion. It's also called an unqualified opinion. A couple of things I wanted to bring out on the financial statements when you see them. For the year, the consolidated financial statements is showing a loss of $181,786. That compares to about $146,000 in the prior year. So one thing I want to bring up to you, and I do this every year, and I know it's confusing I was telling a while ago, it took me the first year of accounting classes in college for the light to click on, to trying to figure out what generally accepted accounting principles and accrual basis accounting really is. But basically, generally accepted accounting principles require your financials to be reported on an accrual basis, not a cash basis. A cash basis is like your checkbook, cash in, cash out. So your expenses on a financial statement prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles not only shows cash out, but it also shows non-cash expenses, such as depreciation expense and bad debt expense. Those are your two biggies, if you will, your two large non-cash expenses that you'll see. If you were to add back your depreciation expense for the year and your bad debt expense for the year, you would actually be showing a positive net income of $138,000. So it's disconcerting, I know, to see a net loss year to year in which y'all accumulated net losses over the last several years. However, if you look at your balance sheet, you'll see that you have total current assets of $1.4 million. Current assets consist of cash, member assessment receivables, prepaid assets, all those assets that are going to be realized within the current operating cycle with the current year. Then if you compare that, which is $1.4 million, if you compare that to your current liabilities, which is at September 30th was $405,000. That's called, the difference between those current assets and your current liabilities is known as working capital. So your working capital was $1,018,000. That means you had excess current operating funds, if you will, not all cash, granted, over your current liabilities of $1 million. That's a healthy working capital. So the bad debt expense that's recognized every year is about $140,000 to $150,000. And the reason for that is it's not really reflective of current members' assessments that are not going to be collected by the association. These originated basically 30, 40 years ago when the association was initially founded, when all of those units and all those lots were sold, and now you have people that have deeds to these units all over the place. And so way back 30, 40 years ago, you had all these accounts receivable set up because all of these units were sold. Some of them honored those receivables, some of the people, and you know, paid or whatever. Others did not. Others just bought the unit, you know, with an intent to someday retire here, but that never transpired. Either they passed away, now their beneficiaries or their heirs in some cases don't even realize that there's a deed out there somewhere to a lot here at Fort Clark Springs. Well, we cannot write those accounts receivable off until we have either foreclosed those properties or, you know, acquired the deed back from the people. And so consequently, those receivables are staying out there, and it's inflating your assets by that amount. But in order to take care of those receivables that we are more likely than not, or not in most cases will not be collectible, we have been writing off those receivables, if you will, over a period of years, so that we have a reserve for bad debts on your balance sheet that will eventually get to the point where it will offset those inactive accounts. So at some point, these losses are going to be turning around because you'll have less bad debt expense recognized. Now, I know that was a lot to take in, but I don't know how to make it easier. Simpler than that. Well, thank you. So, anyway, your financials consist, when you see it or you go pick up a package of it, the packet will consist of the audit report, consist of the financials, the consolidated financials, which is your balance sheet, your income statement, your statement of cash flows, which is an attempt to convert your accrual basis net income to a cash flow statement. And then you'll see several pages of footnotes. And those footnotes are there to help explain some of the things that are in the financial statements. They're required by generally accepted accounting principles. And then after those footnotes, you will see some supporting financial statements, if you will. And from those supporting data, you'll be able to tell, for example, we break out the operating revenues, net operating revenues, the revenues less the operating expenses of the various cost centers, if you will. You know, the motel, the admin, RV, golf, all of that. You'll be able to look and see how each one of those categories did during the year. To see, you know, what was your loss leader, et cetera, et cetera. On the notes, I don't believe there's anything out of the ordinary. You know, the association does file a corporate income tax return. The association has not had to pay income taxes in years and years because of the net operating losses for tax purposes that have been accumulated over the years. And I don't expect the association to have to be or will be in a taxable situation for many years to come, because those losses carry over to future years, if not utilized. So other than that, you will note the cash was down quite a bit from last year. It's the only other point I really want to bring out. And that's, a lot of that's because of the insurance proceeds that we had in the year ended September 30, 2016 for the damage to the storm from the storm. And those were pretty much expended, I believe, 100% during 9/30/17 year end. So that cash is gone, so you'll see a noticeable decrease in your cash, but that's not, I mean, that was just expected and ordinary, so. So with that, I will conclude my presentation. I thank you once again. I thank Richard and Monique and the staff for cooperation, and I appreciate, I know every one of you should have gotten a confirmation of your receivable balance this last year, and I appreciate your either responding if you did, if there was some kind of discrepancy in your records to whatever, because that helped us a lot and helped Richard as well to identify some issues in the receivable programs, as well as to ensure that what we were showing on the books as receivable were in fact valid and true receivables. So thank you for your response. And with that, who am I turning it over to?
I don't know about you, but I think every year it makes me smarter. I blame it on him. We're really serious about your putting in your questions, because probably all of you have some similar questions, and it would be good if we could get the answers out to you in the email. Now, I'm going to introduce Richard Lawrence, because he needs no introduction.
So to my fellow members and my fellow employees and to my board, I thank you all for the tremendous support that you've given me over the last 2 years. 2 years have passed since I first came here. And I've received tremendous support from you all, and I thank you for that. It has made the job much easier. I say my board because I feel a certain kinship as the executive officer. I feel as though we have forged some long-lasting friendships as we have been in the trenches while fighting every day to hold the fort, so to speak. And sometimes fighting with each other, but always fighting to hold the fort, to preserve it, to protect it, and to provide it the services that our membership has come to expect and to enjoy. I feel a special appreciation to our board president, Myrna Castle, who is today leaving the board, and with whom I have closely worked. I'm certain, absolutely certain, that I have given Myrna very much heartburn over the last couple of years. But she never showed it. Or if she did show it, I don't know. Among the many board accomplishments under her leadership may be counted the monumental tasks of revising not only the Declaration of Protected Restrictions, but also the bylaws. One of these accomplishments might be considered to be remarkable, but to have accomplished both, in my estimation, is an amazing feat of true leadership. For 20 years or more, others have kicked problematic cans down the road, not Myrna. Her contagious attitude was one of let's fix it. An example, the antiquated computerized bookkeeping system that we inherited from the 1990s, with all its problems and its glitches that were decades in the making, Myrna said, no more. So she recruited her program designing genius brother, David Barfoot, to help us sort it out, to begin developing a new program that will get us through. Finally, we're going to come out of that bookkeeping swamp that has kept us bogged down in suspicion and distrust and doubt. That will go away, because we will be able to produce the kinds of reports that you expect and that you deserve. But to do that, we need a new system. Following the recommendation of our auditor, we may have to hire a CPA or at least a degreed accountant to act as our comptroller of accounts. And it may mean that we have to make some sacrifices and cut corners in order to be able to afford that, but it's something that's very important and something that I urge as well. Myrna, it's been a pleasure serving Fort Clark Springs under your leadership, your wisdom and your strength, I think. Would you all please stand and give her appreciation that she deserves? God bless you. And after years of neglect, you just have to look around to see the unacceptable condition of some of our most valuable assets. Myrna insisted that we develop a long-term plan of attack and put that plan into action, and that is what we have done. Now, it's not a perfect plan, but it's a beginning. We are entering a period of reconstruction. First, we have to correct the problem of delinquent accounts. I'm proud to have Mr. Guillermo Guzman working with me for the last 3 months. Mr. Guzman, would you please stand so that everyone can see that face? That is the face of the man who is going to correct this rather serious problem. He's already made much progress in terms of collecting delinquencies. For example, and this is just a small thing, but I think you'll be impressed. He has reduced, there are a number of people who are habitually late in their payments. They will not make payments until it's absolutely necessary to do that. Actually, there's about 600 or more who do that. Mr. Guzman has reduced that number to just a little more than 300. Cut it in half. These people are now complying and paying as they should, and we appreciate that, because it makes the job much, much easier. Responding to the more severely delinquent members, Mr. Guzman has slowly and methodically provided delinquent members opportunity after opportunity to bring their accounts current, while at the same time taking steps toward recording property liens and moving toward foreclosure. The board has now retained an attorney, to actually bring about these property liens and foreclosures if that is necessary, and we hope that it is not. I might also mention at this point the enforcement of the CC&Rs. We have an architectural committee who is getting rather firm, shall we say, with those who are in violation of the CC&Rs and have already applied the individual enforcement assessments of up to $1,500 for some people. And those fines or those assessments are being paid. And if they are not being paid, then liens will be filed. It's even possible, we're looking into the prospect of then selling those liens maybe to your neighbor. And with the funds that are recouped, perhaps we could put them back into the units where they are most needed. Just some considerations. The plans for future repairs and replacement. Now, This includes, but it is not limited to, and it is not in an order of priority, and it's not all to be done in 1 year. But let me tell you what the board has been considering. First of all, the motel needs desperate help. Underneath is something like a rainforest for all the leaks. The plumbing has to be completely overhauled. Not long ago, the board took a tour of all of the campus to various buildings and like, and even went under the buildings to see how things are. They went to the motor pool and examined each and every one of the vehicles and equipment that we have out there to see what it is that indeed we are having to work with. And this plan came out of that, by the way. So we have a complete overhaul of the plumbing of the motel. We also have updating and remodeling that has to be done, reconstruction of those exterior stairs. I don't know if you've ever been on them, but you take your life into your own hands whenever you climb them. They have to be reconstructed. We need to replace doors with secure doors in the motel. And we need a new TV service, which is a very expensive proposition, I know. However, I'm going to shock you. We have been locked into a long-term contract for TV service. We spend approximately $900 a month for 12 channels. That's outrageous. And so we have now, coming out of that contract, we're going to have to do something else. We need a modern TV service. And it also serves the RV park. Speaking of the RV park, there are many things that need to be done there, yes, to upgrade, to bring it up, because that is one of our greatest income producers. The office has a foundation which is cracked, and the building is about to split in two. It needs to be repaired. It's going to cost in the neighborhood of $12,000 to do so. We have just activated a Wi-Fi pay-as-you-go system. I want to see those proceeds turned back into the RV park. We have over 29 rock pads that I'd like to see asphalt layover. That needs to be done. And again, search for the new TV service. The golf course. It will never be. Tiger Woods is not going to visit our golf course. Just because it's beautiful and pretty. It's not. But it's a good one, and it's getting better. And we're trying hard, but we need to do more. We need to restore the greens. We need to restore the tee boxes. We need more and new golf carts. We need to repair the irrigation system. It's constantly breaking up. Just last week, a 6-inch line blew, and that was quite a flood. So we have repairs there to make. The wildlife management program is a huge revenue producer. We anticipated some $55,000 in the current fiscal year would be generated. Instead, closer to $100,000 was generated. We need to put some of those profits back into the program to make it a first-class program so that it will continue to be successful. And we owe that largely to our security chief, Matt Bland, and Carol Ann Goodwin, who worked very, very hard to make it a success. I apologize, the allergies are kicking in. I want to point out that taken together, excuse me, taken together, the motel, the RV park, the golf course, the golf course and the wildlife management program, taken together, those 4 programs are profitable. So I don't think we can honestly say that my assessments are going to a golf course that doesn't make money and I never use it and therefore I don't want to pay money. No. They are self-supporting. When taken together, those 4 revenue-producing programs are profitable. and it does not tap your assessments. The swim park needs to be made ADA compliant. We need to have a ramp or steps or lift chairs that will go into the swimming pool. We are way late in doing that, and that needs to be corrected. And it is especially important given that we are an aging community. We need to make our swimming pool more accessible, and so we need to be moving in that direction as well. The restrooms also at the swim park, the restrooms are deplorable and they need a complete overhaul. The NCO Club, I'm sorry, the NCO Club needs foundation repair also. And all we need is for one of you to give us a check for $80,000. That's the true fix. A Band-Aid might be more like $11,000. We'll have to see. The horse stables. We have plans to renovate the stalls and to bring them up to the, well, perhaps the original early 20th century condition, to make it a showpiece. We need air conditioning. We need air conditioning in this building, which estimates have been somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000. We also need air conditioning in the adult center, and at the pro shop, and at the Shafter Hall, and at the security hut. Some of you may disagree, but we need to replace the Highway 90 fence. It is ugly as sin, and that's the face of Fort Worth. It needs to be replaced. And the stone wall there near the empty saddle, it needs to be repaired. How long has it been?
3 years.
It was before my time, I know, and it needs to be repaired. The adult center needs modern equipment for the gymnasium. Have you been there? It's pretty rough. The teen center needs modernization. It needs cosmetic changes. That could be a better used facility than what it is now. The administrative offices are in serious need of new technology so that we can do the things that we need to do. We also need a new website. And along with that website, we need a comprehensive marketing plan. And those things are not cheap. But I believe that there are people in the audience and in the general population who know how to do these things. And so I'd like you to step forward and let me know. We need a comprehensive marketing plan so that we can promote not only our revenue-producing programs, but also to attract people to the fort, to the RV park, which is really a conduit for people who come to stay here and who come to visit and then end up staying here. We need to be able to market those revenue-producing programs. I could go on. Reconstruction. All it takes is time and money and people. That's all. But as Myrna has said, let's fix it. Thank you all.
And are you prepared to introduce our committees? I'm hoping you'll stand when she introduces you.
I will stand here now. We have several. All right, do you hear me now? We have some committees and organizations that are very important to keep us operating. And I would like for each of these, when I call your committee name, that you will stand and remain standing until we go through the whole group. I'll do it as quickly as possible, so we don't have to fall till our hands are raw. The Airport Committee. Architectural Committee. Community Council, Equine Committee, which also works with the Horse Club, which you all stand to. Financial Advisory Committee, Golf, Historical Society, Old Bar Society, Recreation Committee, Recycling, and last, not least, committee. And the RV Park, which is last but not least, we also had two committees that operated temporarily this year. We had a bylaws revision committee, a search and certification committee. So I would like for everybody to see how many people have been instrumental, and lots more than not even here today, in keeping our Fort Clark activities going. And we thank you all.
We've got enough cables back here, we can kill one of those old people. No, we're not working on the young ones yet. I have the Employee of the Year announcement, for which I need a different sheet of paper. I'm just going to tell you because I need her to come down here and make fun of her. Carolyn Goodman is our Employee of the Year. I'm pretty sure that I don't have to tell most of you why she's the Employee of the Year, but I'm going to give you a few reasons. She started January 1, 2017. Seems a lot longer with all she's accomplished, doesn't it? We're going to burn you out, I'm worried about that. She volunteered for Fort Clark Days before she even started with Fort. She was working there in 2016, and she joined the Community Council Board shortly after that. But new activities or refurbished old activities, let me give you a list. Family Fun Days. If you remember last year's 4th of July activities, wasn't that special? Well, that was because of Carol Ann. Easter sunrise services were gone for a while. We got them back because of Carol Ann. The monthly movies were started, but they moved on. We're doing well with those. She's updated the brochures for golf and hunting and RV park and camping area. She works on the Facebook page all the time. The hunting expo, this one tickles me. I don't know if you hunt, but...
I'm the person behind the blind going, run, man.
On the other hand, she went to the expo in San Antonio this year and talked about $100,000 worth of hunters to come here and take their shot. And we've done it. We probably made more money on that this year than anything else. So thank you for that. She coordinated with the United Methodist Army to make picnic tables and benches for our swim park, the amphitheater. I couldn't get that word. Thank you. If you noticed the pumpkin patch this year, that came from Carol Ann. The Easter Fun Day. If you drove by when all those eggs and all those little kids were out there, I didn't see them come together, but it was fun watching. The tour of homes, the decorating of Dickman Hall. One of the things I think that makes Caroline especially good at what she does is that she tries to bring as many people as possible in, and has made a point to bring Brackettville in on the activities that we have going here. Her involvement also helped in the New Year's Eve party at Dickman Hall, the Ghostly Tours, the Art Club's craft show. I didn't know this, but you assisted with the updating of the job descriptions. That's a difficult job. The newest, oh, I forgot about donations. I'm told that you're really good about getting money out of people.
You don't want to get too close to me. I either need you to volunteer or I need you to make a donation.
That's right.
Preferably both.
So, did really well on the fireworks this year because of the donations she talked out of people. The benches and picnic tables, those got money anyway. And your newest one, I think, is the music at Creekside, right?
Thursday, please come.
Advertisement. Anyway, there isn't one thing you could say about Carol Ann that would make it special. Just please stay with us and don't burn out. Thank you, Carol Ann.
It's a great pleasure for me also to present this to Carol Ann, Employee of the Year. God bless you. You're such a jewel.
Sandy will introduce the member of the year.
I'm really honored and especially pleased to announce this year's volunteer member of the year. Most of you probably don't know this talented individual. I didn't. Some may have heard his name. A little bit about him. He set up communications in Vietnam before the war and then in the Philippines. On returning home, he was employed with a firm that handled communications and later computer projects for the military and the CIA. His last job before retirement was with a Texas bank that needed his expertise with the Y2K conversion. He has a bachelor's degree in computer science and has kept up with the changes over the years and is sharing that expertise with our association. He is currently volunteering his time and expertise designing and programming new computer systems for the Fort Clark Springs Association. His knowledge of accounting and bookkeeping, learned while working for the Texas Bank, further inform his work. He's designing a new system to replace the old Sunbelt system. And that, believe me, system is a tragedy right now. Sunbelt is more than 20 years old. In addition to being outdated, it's soon to lose any kind of affordable or available technical support. The cost of designing, programming, and locating and transferring data would have been prohibitively expensive should the association have had to hire an IT specialist. And we're talking about possibly 6 figures. Our member has spent hundreds of volunteer hours working with our CPA and employees to design better systems for our financial and membership information. He continues to work on those solutions and continues to work on Sunbelt. In addition, he downloads the board meeting videos to the association website, a job that takes several hours, just time, and frees employees to do our other tasks. So with much appreciation, I'd like to introduce you to David Barfoot, our FCSA member of the year.
David, I'll come to you. I cannot say just knows how much I appreciate all the work that you have done. He has spent hours and hours and hours and hours, and he's pulled out half his hair. But yeah, that's what happened to him. I thank you so much, and I just want to congratulate you once again and ask you, please, please, hurry up.
David, God bless you. Thank you. There you go.
I have been given the sad task, of saying goodbye on the board only. They're still here. To the 3 members who are going off at this time. Sandy Hagan, who has been on the board for 5 years. She was appointed and then elected. Myrna Castle, approximately 4 years. Same thing. She was appointed and then elected. And Miss Ann Barron, who was elected last time. So, these ladies have gone past the mile, have done more than they should, and we owe them a gratitude that I don't think we can really repay. But I may say, ladies, adios. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. We have some plaques for these ladies. Women? Okay, these women. I'm being politically correct, I guess, according to Ms. Castle. Anyway, certificate of appreciation presented to Myrna Castle in recognition of valuable contribution as a board member, March 2015 through March 2018. Ms. Myrna Castle. Certificate of appreciation presented to Sandra Hagan in recognition of valuable contributions as a board member, March 2015 through March 2018. Sandra Hagan. Certificate of appreciation presented to Ann Barron in recognition of valuable contribution as a board member, March 2015 through March 2018. Again, I wish to thank these women for their I know you can hit me, I'm standing too close to you. For their dedication to being on the board for the time that they work. Thank you, women.
Thank you, Bill. It's my pleasure now to bring up Sonia Valdez Junfin, our election auditor, with the results of our election this year. Sonia, would you please join me here?
Hi, everybody. First, I would like to thank the board members for giving me this opportunity. It's definitely a breath of fresh air in a very, very busy tax season. So this was fun and different. Okay. first, I would like to name the candidates that were on the ballot, and I apologize beforehand and if I butcher any of the names. Nora Suzanne Hughes, okay. Patricia Stephenson, John Hope, Maria Perkins, Sandra Hagan, Ann Barron, Debbie Isaacs, Helena McBride. Yes. Do I also read the write-ins? Not really. Okay. They only had one vote, so I mean, it didn't make much of a difference. Yeah. So total ballots that we received were 735. We had 21 spoiled ballots, and that is the ballots that were marked, and then you guys didn't sign them, so we can't really count them because it has to make sure that the person that's the member is the one that voted. And then we have 714 that were actually counted and accepted. So the results are as followed. First place receiving 333 votes is Debbie Isaacs. Second place is Maria Perkins with 322 votes. And the third place receiving 306 votes is John Hope. Do I go through all of them? Yes. So then after him, 200. So fourth place is Nora Hughes with 284. Then Helena McBride with 267. Sandra Hagan with 168. Ann Barron with 181. And Patricia Stephenson with 131. The rest of them received 1 vote, and there were write-ins: Don Allen, Carla Hamlin, Jolie Welsh. Actually, Jolie received 2 write-in votes. Kim Bernard, 1. Barbara Boss, 1. Sam Lark, 1. Stan Martin, 1. Myrna Castle, 1. And Jacob Doris, 1. Thank you guys again. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sonia, for the report. And you're welcome to stay for lunch afterwards. Okay, thank you.
The very first thing we do is swear in our new people so they can't get away from them. So that would be Debbie, Maria, and John.
Congratulations to all 3 of you, and welcome to the board. We look forward to working with you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will uphold and support the Declaration of Protective Restrictions.
I do solemnly swear that the Declaration
Uphold and support
of the Declaration
of Protective Restrictions.
of protected restrictions,
The bylaws and regulations
the bylaws and regulations
governing the administration
governing the administration
of Fort Clark Springs Association.
Association.
I further swear that I will represent
I further swear that I will represent
the interests of the membership
the interest of the membership
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you all, welcome. And after this meeting is adjourned, then we will have a small organizational meeting where we choose the officers that will be on stage. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I want you to know that I have really appreciated working with you from the board perspective. I'm not going away, so plan on hearing from me some other way. But I do. I really appreciate the chance to work with you. The next Board of Directors meeting is April 21st, 2018, 9 o'clock in the boardroom. You're reminded again that lunch will be served after this meeting in the NCO Club. The last minute that you can have one of the lunches is 1:30, so don't wait. We're hoping that you'll go there and sit down and talk with friends, but you can pick up a meal and take it out with you if you want to. Anyone? I'm not going to read you the menu, just in case there's something you don't like. You just have to go find out. Okay. I need a motion for adjournment from the audience.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Please, I didn't see you.
Berta Howell.
Okay. Did you get that?
Yep, I said it.
Got that? All right, own up, who seconded?
Say your name. Sue Rulin.
Thank you. Then we are now adjourned at 11:13. A reminder that the new board members will meet out here.